Welcome to Hyde Park. I'm your host, Tahir Rao, and we invited Dr. A.Q. Rana. He is the leader of the Centrist Party of Canada. He just formed a new political party in Canada. We will talk about his views on Canadian politics, and we really wanted to know from him that Canada is a very mature democratic country where political parties are long established since many years and many decades, I would say. And it's a pure democratic country where elections are held free and fair, and every freedom of speech is there, and all that things happening there in Canada. But he still formed a new political party in presence of three major established party, Liberal Party of Canada, Conservative Party of Canada, and NDP. This is the third largest party. So he's a new entrant into the party. So welcome, Dr. A.Q. Rana, in my show. Uh, I welcome you in Hyde Park.
Thank you, Mr. Rao, for inviting me for this talk. It would be a pleasure speaking with you today.
Mr. Rana, I wanted to know that in presence of, I mentioned in my intro also, that Canada is a well-established democratic country where it's in the human rights, freedom of speech, and all that index, if you look into that in the world index. So Canada has a very prestigious country into that, and they enjoy a very respect in the whole community. So in the presence of these two major political party and third parties, NDP also third largest party, why you think you need Canada need another political party?
Yeah, our country is the most beautiful country. It's a very successful country. We enjoy freedom, and our democratic system has been very well established for centuries. Since still if you look at our system, there is still a lot of room for improvement. With the time, especially if you look in last decade and a half, so I believe that we are getting more and more divided as a nation, as a country. We are getting divided into Eastern Canada versus Western Canada. We are getting divided into immigrants, European immigrants, Indian immigrants versus indigenous people. We are getting divided into conservatives, into liberal, into left wing and right wing. To a certain extent, the political division is a natural phenomenon in any democratic country. But once it becomes polarized to an extent that it becomes a pernicious polarization, then I believe it's a duty of every citizen to act to keep the society uniform, to keep peace, and to avoid any social unrest. Because when we are polarized to an extent, as we saw in our neighboring country, US, so especially in the last era of Mr. Trump, so polarization has gone to such an extent that people on January 6th, they attacked the symbol of their democracy, the biggest democracy in the world. They attacked Capitol Hill. No one could imagine that. And we are a neighboring country. All of the conditions which happen in US, most of the conditions, they do impact Canada, right? So I believe that in recent, in the last couple of decades, so things are going, they are becoming more divergent. And then if you look at, there has been, left-wing people are becoming more and more left-wing, right-wing people are becoming more and more right-wing. Then, in addition, if you look at the transparency record of last two, governments, the conservative government, Harper conservatives, from 2006 to 2015. I mean, if you talk about their scandals and their moral and financial lack of transparency, we can spend hours and hours. Even the conservative leaders who were in conservative party, like Maxime Bernier, they admitted that conservative party has become morally corrupt, inept, and also the Liberal Party is following the same footsteps. So
So, Mr.
if
Rana,
you
this is the question arises. You are talking about that central, the right wing is becoming more rightist and the left are becoming more left. So that solution is with the Liberal Party. They claim to be center of the left party. So do you think where they are leaning? They are leaning towards the left or they are leaning towards right?
Every party want to appeal to people, to mature people. Every party claims they are centrist. They follow the most like a centrist position. They're close to center. Yes, Liberal Party is left of center, there is no doubt. And the Conservative Party was extremely right to the center, but now they are also, with the new leadership, it seems that there'll be two liberal parties. They're also moving to the left of the center. So there'll be no more Conservative Party in Canada. So there's no party which is really centrist, which follows a moderate approach, which follows a pragmatic approach and a sustainable approach. You look at any issues, whether it be financial, whether be issue of climate change. So each party has its extremist agenda, and then they kind of they kind of pursue their agenda, and there is no common ground. There's no dialogue. There is opposition for the sake of opposition. If you look at opposition parties, and then on the other side, the governing party also want to take the advantage of the pandemic, and they also want to control the parliament. So both of the parties, they are at a constant fight with each other all the time.
So do you think like problem with the liberals are the platform itself, their policies, or their actions are not matching with the policy?
uh, Both the policies of both parties, yes, they are, they are to one side, and also what they say, it applies to most of the parties. It does not match, what they do. For example, yeah, you look at, since we were talking about last couple of governments, in last conservative government, for example, you look at, they have been saying, oh, we need to stand up to China all the time. Yes, we need to stand up to China, there's no doubt. But this was the same government which entered into agreements with China, and they locked Canada for 31 years. This was the same government, and the same people who are now MPs, who are now, shadow ministers. They were ministers at that time. Now, the most recent scandal of General Vance, if you look at the time he was appointed in July 2015, it was Harper conservative government. There were complaints at that time of the sexual allegations, and why why the investigations were dropped, why he was appointed. And at that time, the leader of the opposition now, he was the Minister of the Veteran Affairs, and he has been saying for that the liberals are responsible for all this mess. There's no doubt. Yes, there has been some inaction. There has been lack of action at somewhere, but I believe the investigation should start from the scratch. In the first place, why was he appointed? and why the investigations were dropped. So they're saying something, but they're doing something else.
Yes, Mr. Rana, that's the issues like which everyone face, because we deal with the people, right? So every person have their moral courage and moral obligations and temperament and everything. So their personal character, everything comes to play in the role, right? So, but the thing is that from your party, I wanted to focus on your party. How you differentiate your party from other parties? To me, like three four things I look into that. One is the foreign policy of the country, that's more important. The other one is the defense policy of the country, economic policy of the country. There are three pillars and the core cornerstones about the other fourth one is the economic policy. So these are the four things. Where do you think that you will make a difference, and where you will find from the different from the conservative and the liberals or the NDP?
I think first, we should focus on our own house. That's the most important thing. Looking internally at our country,
Yes.
our economy, with respect to our, last two governments, Harper conservatives, they inherited a surplus
Hmm.
from the liberal government, and within a couple of years they changed it into a deficit. Why? Because they were helping their friends and cronies, right? So their reckless spending, their careless spending, it continued. Then came the Liberal Party. So with the Liberal Party, they have been spending, like, this is a time of recession if you look at it closely, right? In the time of recession, if you ask the experts, they report that the income of some people have increased. They have
Yes.
spent so much money. We have gone into deficit. Now, what would happen? Our taxes will increase, right? So controlled spending, and also, the accountability is the most important. And then working on our income, working on our natural resources. What is our biggest export? Our biggest export is oil, right? And last two governments, they have not done anything meaningful to support our oil and gas industry. So we would focus on these issues. We will try to attract investments. We will develop our natural resources industry to its fullest potential. We will control the spending. We'll try to balance the budget, and in that, as a consequence, hopefully, we'll be able to lower the taxes.
Okay, so you wanted to say that what I can conclude from what are you saying is your main focus would be economy. That's your strength of the like the core driving force behind your party. So in that context, NDP has a different view. They are more towards the nationalization, public sector, and the taxes, increasing the taxes on the rich people and the elite people. So do you think like it's the you find a solution in a capitalism or into a socialism or into a like mixed economy? What do you think? What will be your strength or
Well,
the
our economy should be mixed economy.
Mhm.
There has to be control of government on certain things, right? I'm not focused on NDP's plan of economy. For example, NDP is very well against developing our oil and gas industry. As you know, they have their agenda is to eventually abolish, like almost like they and Green Party, they always compete with each other, who has a better climate plan. We completely disagree with the climate plan and the plan for natural resources for both of these parties, NDP as well as Green Party. We would.
Even Liberal Party also supporting the climate change.
Right.
Yeah.
See, if you look at uh, the real facts, right? So we have the third largest reserve of oil on the planet. We have
Mhm.
1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in Canada, right? We we make 10.6% of our GDP from our natural resources. right? So with respect to, we export about 4.7 million cubic feet of natural gas every year. We export about 3.7 million barrels of oil every year, right? So if we, the Green Party and almost NDP, they have been saying that the oil is dead. We should close and shut down our oil industry. The renewable resources of energy at this time, they are not to a level to replace the traditional methods of energy, which is oil and gas. I believe that the transition will happen. There's no doubt. The demand of oil will increase. If you look at development in Africa and Asia, the development is taking place, and the need of oil will increase, and especially after COVID is over, the demand for oil will increase at that time. So if we shut down our oil industry, what is the alternative? Alternative is that other countries like Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Nigeria, they will produce more oil. So our place will be taken by those countries. And who will be the loser? Us. If we
Mhm.
shut down our oil industry, people are not going to stop
But
using the oil, right?
Canadian trade and Canadian oil also, of course, oil and gas also, they are very much dependent on America's policies also. So after the Biden government came, they are also discouraging oil and gas, not gas rather, oil, and they are talking about the climate change and the renewable energies. So what do you think? So is it possible to take a very different approach from America?
Uh, I don't think, see, with respect to Canada first, uh, share of Canada in the greenhouse gas emission is about 1.5, 1.6%, right? Not, more than 98% of greenhouse gas emission is from countries other than Canada, of which China is about, 25, 27%, 15% is US. Then we have India about 6% and about 5%, Russia. So for our 1.6% share, if we shut down our oil industry, we might be able to lower our share to 1.5%, right? And I believe that even US is not in a position to do this. Yes, these are slogans which every party uses before election and during campaign. That we will make a big transition. I don't think most of our oil is exported to US. More than 80% of oil
So you
is
wanted
gone
to
to
say that
US.
you will support that. This is basically the conservative agenda also. So they support oil and gas. So
I, I
okay,
I don't think conservatives ever support oil and gas. No, I disagree with that. Conservative Party has a base in Alberta. It basically has become an Alberta party. So the Conservative Party knows that whether they support, as long as they keep on, saying oil and gas, so Alberta will always vote for them, even if they decrease their support for natural resources. Alberta will still support them, right? I
okay.
don't think conservative has done anything meaningful. They have always taken Alberta for granted, and that is the reason now Albertans know, since especially now O'Toole conservatives have come back with a carbon tax. Now Albertans are so disappointed with Jason Kenney, provincially and federally with conservatives, that they are looking somewhere else.
Okay, so going back to our the original when we started our conversation about the party, so we have gone through the other topics. Uh, so, what do you think? You mentioned that Canadian society is divided, and the polarization is increasing, and they are divided into the subcategories, horizontal and vertical. So, do you think making another party is also a night divide?
Uh, See, if you go back to maybe Brian Mulroney and that era, at that time liberals and conservatives, they were not so extremely divided. I was listening to one interview of Mr. Kreshian, and he said when the liberals think that you are a conservative and conservatives think you are a liberal, then you are a real centrist, right?
Mhm.
So yes, we want to bring a common ground, a moderate approach on all these issues. We believe that climate change is real. It is a big threat to our planet, but we think the transition will be gradual, and therefore our especially our resources are there to support that transition, and with time the transition will come, right?
Mhm.
So similarly, on all other issues, on economy, and on foreign policy, we want to have very centrist and a moderate approach so that we can work together. See, when I look at in a different way. When you're taking an exam with multiple choice questions, right? When you read those four answers, all of the answers look reasonably okay, right? Maybe one or two answers are way off, but two answers are very, very
Very,
close, right?
okay.
So, but when you look at more closely, there is only one position which is best for a country, right? Not two positions. So what has
Okay.
happened now? Opposition and the governing party each keep on fighting. For example, on gun control. I mean, everyone knows that we need a tight gun control. The Conservative Party has been opposing a gun control. Why? Just for the sake of opposition,
Hmm. Okay.
right?
Yeah. So
So
people, like, generally it is said that, okay, a friend of everyone is friend of nobody. So, like, even if you see the conservatives, especially, they take up side, at least whatever we can differ from them. Okay, we like it or don't like it them, but they take stand on that. Like, for example, the Israel policy or the Kashmir policy. There's two conflicting areas. Liberals, they are like, their heart and minds are, they wanted to take a position against them, but they don't. They are like compromised on that. But NDP Jagmeet, he is very clear-headed on Kashmir issue and the Palestine issue also. So he gave the statement also. So do you think, you are saying that if people should be, I'm not going into that debate, or that we are not discussing that issue specifically, but you're saying that friend of everyone is not a friend of anyone. So do you think person should take a one position, whether it's a wrong or wrong, right or wrong?
who should take one position?
Anyone, like your
Yeah,
party, you're saying that,
yeah,
okay, it should be, you have given the example that conservatives should think, when you are real centrist is conservatives think you are a liberal, and liberal should think you are conservative. But it is
right.
like you are playing both side.
Yeah.
So
So, uh so,
so this is
so
also called in the politics, like when you meet to the rich people, so people think you are supporter of them, the elite class, the richest person. When you go to the poor people, poor people should think you are your savior. So it means that you are not, you're nowhere.
no, one thing is doing politics for the sake of politics and votes. I'm not a politician. I'm not a traditional Ottawa politician. I'm a physician. I spent most of my life, seeing patients, and towards this peak of my, practice. Why should I, expose myself to people, cursing me, making my scandals, my cartoons, and memes, and all those things, and
Mhm.
even all my credit, which I might have from some patients, at least, that would be at risk and stake. All that charitable work I have done for Parkinson's, that would be at risk, right? So I believe that uh, I'm there not for the sake of votes. For example, I was interviewing with another journalist, and he said,
Mhm.
well, because you're against recreational cannabis, you will lose a lot of votes. I said, listen, I'm not doing politics for the sake of votes. Even if I lose votes or gain votes, I'll say that recreational cannabis was a wrong decision by Justin Trudeau. Same thing on climate. I will stick to my position, what is right for the country. Yes, sometime when a centrist party is deciding on various positions, we have yes, in some situations we might look like really left wing. For example, on racism, right? We are extremely left wing. We don't we have no acceptance for any type of racism or any type of sexism or any type of division. But on the other side, on climate, we are moderate. We want to have, we will have a climate plan. We want to support our industry, so we are moderate. And on certain issues, we might be right wing. For
Yeah. So,
example,
so
fiscally,
Anna,
right?
your party is like newly established party, and there are chances that election will come into fall if things goes on track of the COVID, because of the COVID. Otherwise, there could be chances that it could fall having in spring also. But 90, like majority thinks that election will happen in fall. So, what's your plan for that? What you are aiming for this election?
So our aim is, of course, we're a new party. We just started. We got our registration in November, and we have our team. We are recruiting people in our team, volunteers as well as in other committees.
Mhm.
So our membership campaign is going. Because of COVID, we have limitations because
Yeah,
we
of course.
can't visit people. We can't have town halls. Is all through social media.
Mhm.
We are accepting nominations, applications for nominations. We have
Okay.
several people who are interested to run at our platform. So
Mhm.
we'll be launching as many as candidate as possible.
Okay. So what is your your roadmap you're looking for, like next 5 to 10 years? So you are aiming to Ottawa get position, or to become a pressure group just like NDP? Okay, even there's a minority government, you have some MPs, and then you can just negotiate whatever you want to, like for your as per your manifesto. What do you think?
I Yeah, I think that all depends on Canadians, right? Our job is to develop a platform
Hmm.
which is very pragmatic and very rational, sustainable, and practical. If Canadians, if Canadians like our platform, they give us opportunity, then of course we'll be in Ottawa. And if they don't give us, any seats, then we will keep on advocating what we believe is right.
Okay. So how's your response, like since November, you are getting from the people?
Our membership is increasing, of course. At this time, we're focused on our membership to have some volunteers, and there was some, interest in April because of the budget was coming, and people were thinking that it might trigger an election.
Mhm.
So we had some response from people. They wanted to run from our platform. So far, things are moving. Yes, because of COVID, it's not as as fast as we would like. But there are limitations. We are not a
Yeah.
established party. Our funding and all these things have to be, established with time.
Okay, so our time is now finishing for this program. So, would you like to give any message to the Canadian people?
I think the biggest problem in our democratic system is lack of transparency and division. We
Mhm.
can't progress forward, unless we overcome these issues. And I think Centrist Party of Canada is rightly positioned to overcome these issues. And I would appeal to all Canadians, uh, because they have already experienced two major parties, that they should give us opportunity to serve them.
Yeah, but NDP is in the line also. So they are also claiming that you have given the opportunities for conservative and liberal, give us a chance to. Okay, Mr. Anat, so good luck to you, and I wish for success of your party. Of course, we need a party with a good people who doesn't have any baggage for their moral characters and all that things. Because I believe that platform is itself is a major thing, but of course the people who are implementers of that platform, that's the and I conclude from your discussions, our discussion and your talk. So we are also facing not only a political dilemma in Canada, but we are facing the dilemma of the moral crisis. So we have
I
to.
think about my moral baggage, you should ask my wife. Thank you
Yes.
so much for
Okay. Thank
having
you
me
very
today.
much, Mr. Rana. We will continue our discussion in some other programs also. So best of luck for your endeavors. Viewers, this is my program, Hyde Park. So I request all my viewers to subscribe my channel, like and share, and give your comments too also. Take care, everyone.